From the moment I first booted up Skyward Sword HD, I knew something was missing. The graphics weren't what I was expecting. While it may be true that the art style was inspired by late 19th century Impressionism, being a remaster of a 2011 game, I could sense the limitations of that console era may have inspired the series to take a new creative approach. I wonder if this game was going to be remade, like in Nintendo's plans. Instead of remaster, they could have remade it. I mean, look at the trees. They're JPEGs. Like the leaves are JPEGs. See, back in 2006, when the Nintendo Wii launched, game developers were struggling with a new challenge. There was no way to get this to run on this. Skyward Sword is what I would like to call a bridge point between the old and the new. As soon as I lowered my expectations a little, I began to enjoy it even more. Skyward Sword HD isn't actually an open world game like Breath of the Wild. It's what I would call open-ended, as there aren't many permutations outside of your primary objective that you can explore.
Got a selection of good things on sale. What are you buying? What are you selling?
Your hometown of Skyloft acts as a central hub area where you meet your friends and take on various duties for them. But beyond that, exploring outside the town will reveal that this entry in the series is meant to lay the groundwork for one of the greatest open-world Nintendo games of all time. Over the course of this review, as you might have already noticed, I'd like to point out that I'll be reviewing the base game, Skyward Sword, as I experienced it in the HD remaster. I won't be covering the differences between the original game and the remaster. For that, I'll leave a link in the description to a more pertinent video for you so you can see all of the quality of life improvements Nintendo lovingly put in. Let's get into it. Being a prequel to the entire Legend of Zelda universe, Skyward Sword is free to embrace a more vulnerable representation of Link. He's not a hero yet, he's more of a hero in training, or more precisely, a knight in training. And what I found so satisfying about this approach to storytelling is that newcomers have a place to start. Knock them out. Hey, sleepyhead, I know how much you like to sleep in, so I'm guessing this will be your alarm clock this morning. Did I guess right? Rise and shine, Link. Today's the wing ceremony. You promised to meet me before it starts. Remember? You better not keep me waiting. Zelda. Oh, it had to be Zelda. Since Link has always been a silent protagonist, it's welcome to see his character fleshed out a little more without being overwhelming. If you haven't played a Legend of Zelda game in the past, this actually works most of the time. Link is more identifiable this way because he is your avatar, in which you experience Skyloft and unravel its secrets. More on the story in a little bit. In the meantime, let's discuss the arsenal of equipment you'll have at your disposal. First, no adventure would be complete without a shield, which is standard fare for Link. You just purchase it from the shop. However, what's new is the Goddess Sword.
This is a sword.
and it's bigger than yours. What do you think of that, Mr. Pajama-wearing, basket-faced, slipper-wielding, Clyde-3-backled, gather-up-and-blade mob-bleathering gomerel, Jesse-off-looking stoner, near-flukish-and milk-drinking, soy-faced, show-pit, min-mouthed, snivelling worm-eyed, hootin' walk, vile, stooging, calibrate tatty.
Inhabiting the Goddess Sword, you'll find a new friendly companion named Vi, who acts as a guide for Link. She can best be described as the Navi of Skyward Sword, which, for those who remember, was Link's fairy companion in Ocarina of Time. As you journey on your quest beyond Skyloft, you discover even more useful equipment. Some new, some turning classics, like the palm bag, used to open secret paths and solve puzzles. There's the slingshot for reaching distant targets, and later on, the bow as well. However, like in previous titles before it, there's always new equipment sets that aid Link in different ways. Some of my personal favorites include the Gust Bellows, which is used to reshape rooms covered in sand. That's not all. There's also the Whip and the Quick Beetle, which are more long-range pieces used to interact with hard-to-reach areas. Similar to Wind Waker's sailing boat, this entry introduces a new pterodactyl-like bird called a Loftwing, which you use to travel from one floating island to the next around Skyloft. While it's true you can purchase items at your local Skyloft vendor, like the aforementioned wooden shield, you can also elect to improve it by collecting resources scattered around the world. I didn't delve too deep into this aspect of the game, so I can only comment to its added value of the overall package, but it's still fun to see Nintendo reward exploration with collecting. If you're wondering what that means for the boss battles, well, be prepared to think outside the box in order to come up victorious on your travels. Oftentimes, with new equipment come new puzzles, and what I found frustrating sometimes is that the solution isn't always clear. I found myself stuck in one area for an hour, looking for this wall here to be blown up. Whoa! And it left me feeling speechless. And other times, it might be a boss that requires a specific set of attacks in order to defeat, which was also frustrating for me to learn. But if you absorb the game mechanics and what exactly it is you're looking for, dungeons and bosses become fulfilling achievements on your journey to save Princess Zelda. Over the course of the 40+ hour campaign, there's a lot to see. All of it begins when Zelda is dropped out of the sky by a tornado. You embark on your journey to save her all of the blessings of her ever-loving father. And you find out that Zelda has been under the care of a mysterious stranger. As time goes on, the goal changes from simply saving Zelda to saving your hometown and the rest of the world around you from an ominous evil king with an equally foreboding name, Demise. If he gets his hands on the Triforce, an ancient relic of great power, he'll have the power to dominate the world. It's really an authentic Legend of Zelda tale at heart, and one that shouldn't be missed. Similar to previous entries, expect it to be told in piecemeal, and from multiple perspectives across a wide range of very likable characters. It's really hard to pick a favorite character in Skyward Sword. The way Groose sees you as a rival in the beginning, to later help you by putting his self-motivations aside for the greater good, is just perfect. The way that Fi shows no emotion, and yet there's seemingly a love connection between an old scrapper bot and Fi, just blew my mind, because sometimes that's just how love goes. Fi can be a little cold and unfeeling at times when she's just giving you statistics, but I guess it lends to her character more. Her burden of duty to the goddess Helia strips her of any meaningful attachment that you might hope to find in a companion. Still, there are occasionally the awkward ones, mostly Girahim, who serves as the main antagonist until demise is revealed. His motivations for doing what he does have no inflection point, such as childhood trauma, revenge, or jealousy. The same goes for Demise, who is only obsessed about retrieving the Triforce and obtaining ultimate power, which might just be a recurring theme of painting a black and white picture, as previous titles have taken this approach before in storytelling.
I hate this channel.
No! No!
But I, for one, saw more latent potential in certain moments that weren't capitalized on. There were a few other characters like that, where I felt that due to the nature of creating a single A to B storyline, deep characterization was abandoned in favor of a concise narrative. I would have liked to know more about Zelda through her father's eyes, or maybe on a separate note, how Levias became so knowledgeable about the Triforce. Unfortunately, those stories will have to wait, I guess. Needless to say, there are quite a few characters to get attached to here, and even more that I didn't cover, but they all lend themselves to Skyward Sword's greatest strengths. A great story, memorable characters, and most importantly, engaging gameplay for the most part. If I may make a suggestion, after playing Skyward Sword HD on a gamepad, I found the controls might have translated better on the Joy-Cons instead. Just be patient as you learn the mechanics of swinging your sword and performing spin attacks, and you'll find that despite the fact that the gamepad was not the intended way to play, Nintendo made the most of it, and the controls are functional. Overall, I'd recommend Skyward Sword HD, or even the original, to anyone who's played a previous entry of Legend of Zelda. I know, I suggested that this was a good starting point for newcomers, but most of the dungeons and bosses have unique solutions, and veterans in the series will appreciate them even more than others. As for me, I'll definitely be there on Link's next adventures.